Hello everyone and welcome back in a new series from Steel Division 2. This is Eagle and today I am presenting the 19th Tank Corps, Soviet 19th Tank Corps. So far we have reviewed three tank divisions, and this is the fourth one. So the 19th Tank Corps, as per what Eugene says here, that it fought in June to mid of August in Vitebsk and Riga's outskirts, and it lost half of its tank strength. So when Operation Battlegroups started, this was the only formation available to counter the attack. They also mentioned that this division has a very limited infantry, or has a less infantry size than the usual Soviet corps. So when I did some research about this division or this corps, so I found that it was originally formed in December 1942, and it mostly consists of workers and peasants. And the division had actually one motorized rifle brigade, the 26th, and also a motorcycle battalion, 91st. So I couldn't actually verify if it had a limited infantry size. It seems questionable to me a little bit, but what I could and I was able to verify is that this division definitely had more light vehicles, because here Eugene didn't add any recon light vehicles, but this division had a light vehicle BA-64, which is totally missing. It was supposed also to have some Lend-Lease tanks or Lend-Lease equipment, mostly tanks, but it seems also that it's missed here. Other than this, mostly of what Eugene presented in this division is accurate. So let's jump in and see how did I set up this division. So everyone, this is the division, and this is how I did the configuration for it, or I did the setup for it. I have to say that this division by far is the best one I played with since I reviewed only three divisions. This is the best one among them so far. So there are more yet to discover, but so far in the Soviets, this is the best division. And the reason for that it has so many options that you can actually use. The only one problem with it is that it has very limited infantry slots. So I had to think carefully on how to adjust these and how to configure them basically. So let's jump in and let's see. So in the recon tab, as I said, the division is missing fast recon armored car or armored vehicles. And I have to say that if these were there, it would have made a huge difference, because the division really lacks some fast tanks. But as we observe, Eugene missed to add this. But anyway, I added here the Razvedka, which is a unit that I always like to add because of the bazooka. I didn't add the T-34, but and the reason I didn't add it because of the availability, but I heard that there will be a nerf for the availability of the T-34, and it will be more than this in the next batch. So let's see that. But until the next batch comes, this is how I configured the division. I only selected 2 recon units, which is the Razvedka. And moving to the infantry tab, which is very tricky because of the limited number of the slots. So here I use this Streleki DB, which is a very good unit in long and medium range. So I added 1 slot in phase A, and I added 1 slot also for close combat units in phase A, supported by some M2A1. Then I added 36 infantry cards Streleki in phase B, and another Sabiri in phase B. And if I had more slot or 1 more slot, I would have added something in phase C. But as you see here, the infantry is really limited, and it's really challenging to put larger number. So that's why I tried to add as many as I can in phase B for the infantry. And I increased also the number of Razvedka on the recon. This was one of the reasons I did that, to try to support the infantry a little bit. In the tank section, or in the tank tab, we have a mix of IS-2s, KV-85 and T-34-85. So I like the tank tab here. It's really unique. It has lots of options. So I used in phase A 1 card of T-34-85, supported by 1 IS-2 command tank, and then a KV-85, which is really good heavy tank. And then I added 1 card of IS-2, and I always like to keep extra or spare tanks in phase C, so that's why I added 1 card of T-34s in phase C. Moving to the support tab, which is the one which I used the most, and I also like the combination of the units here. So I had this flamethrowers, which is a good addition to my infantry as well, because we have less infantry. And I added 1 Maxim card. I added support guns and this OT-34, which is good actually. I mean, the flamethrower in this tank maybe need a nerf in the range, because the range is really low, 160 meter. I mean, in reality it will not be that low, but on the map size it looks like very low, considering the fact that Panzerschrecks work in higher ranges, almost, and the range here is almost as the Panzerfaust as well. So I'm not really sure if the flamethrower of this tank will actually make a difference, but it can work as a cheap tank which can also do infantry support. So that's why I added. The ISU 152 is a must to take in this division, and even though it only has HE shells, but it will be very good to support against defensive structures and against infantry as well. And that is because it has the highest range in the game, which is 2000 meter, 2 kilometer. And obviously 1 card of commanders and another card of SU-152. Someone might say why you did not add a supply truck, which of course will be needed for the artillery. Well, this is the surprise. Let's see, and I will explain why I did not add this while we move on. So in the anti-tank tab I also used it all with one BTRS with fast transport. It was very cheap and it has really good availability, so that's why I picked it. The Su-76 is a must as well because it's costless and it has a very good gun with 8 ABCR shells, so it's a must to pick. Then I added this another BTR in phase B, and the reason I add this is actually that the strength of this unit is 7, so it can do some good in close combat. Plus it's an anti-tank squad, so that is an addition to the limited infantry which is in this division. So as you can see, I'm trying to just increase the number of infantry as much as I can. And then I added one card of the ZIS 3BT 76mm, which is really good also as an anti-tank weapon. And of course the Su-85, which is a tank destroyer and can be very useful. So I filled all the cards basically. And moving to the anti-air, and here is the trick that I was talking about. So basically I added one card of the Zen Art in phase A and another card in phase B, and then I added the Zen Art 85mm, which can be used as an anti-air weapon or an anti-tank weapon. And the nice thing about this that it can also come with a supply truck. So basically it comes with this supply truck Matador Snap, which has even more capacity than the normal supply truck. It has 15,000 supply. The other one has 10,000 as far as I remember. Yeah, I think it has 10,000. Yes, indeed. So this is really a good choice to have the anti-air and the supply in one card. So I'm saving a card for something else. In this case I used the ISU 152, so that's why I did not get the supply truck. On the artillery tab I used the mortars, of course. Mortar is a must in any division because right now they are really OP in the game. Added one card of commanders because I could not add in the infantry tab due to the limited slots. One card of Katyusha and another card of the Su-76mm, which is needed for the long range artillery. Air tab here also is nice in this division. It lacks anti-tank planes. It only has this U2 LMB, but this is very slow, so that's why I didn't pick it. But considering the fact that this is a tank division and it has good tanks in it, IS-2s and KV-85s, so there was no need for an anti-tank plane or a tank buster plane. So it has really good fighters, so I choose the Yak-1B, and it's also double vetted, so that is really great in phase A. And then I have Yak-1B as a bomber, light bomber, also in phase A, so I have like 6 fighters in phase A. And then I have another card in phase B, which is also a fighter, the Yak-3, also double vetted. And one more card of the heavy bombers. I really like the air tab in this division. It's very decent. So that's basically how I configured the division, and I am playing with it as balanced income. even though it says here it's better performed in phase B. So this is how I configured the division. Let's see how the division actually perform in a battle. So everyone, this is the game. This is a really interesting game, and the reason is I am playing with the 19th Tank Corps, and my opponent is playing with the Fallschirmjäger, which 4th Fallschirmjäger, which is one of the strongest divisions in the game. My opponent is also playing with Maverick income, while I am playing as a balanced income. And speaking of the Maverick income, I have heard recently one of those strike team boys saying that it will get nerfed down, and he started explaining that in the upcoming batch the Maverick will get a 5-point decrease in phase A. And he was explaining this like it is a nerf, but he also said that the balanced will get a 5-point decrease in phase B as well. So I don't think if it's really a nerf, it feels to me like it's a buff for the Maverick, because when I actually told him that this is not the way it should be, he said that phase A is most important, which is pretty funny because most of the problems between the balanced and the Mavericks comes in phase B, and balanced always struggle against Maverick in phase B, while it never has a problem in phase A. This game actually is a good showcase for this, because you can defeat the Maverick easily in phase A, but then because of the income in phase B, Maverick can turn the tide upside down and turn the whole game. So this is just the kind of the feedback that these guys maybe are giving to the developers, and we can see that why the game is getting crippled because of such opinions. But anyway, everyone is entitled of his opinion. I don't think decreasing the Maverick in phase A and decreasing the balanced in phase B is a nerf to Maverick. It's, if it anything, it's actually a buff which will make Maverick more painful, and more people is going to pick it up. Anyway, that's a problem for another time. Let's see this battle, which is very interesting. As I said, it was really a tough battle. So I know my opponent is actually playing with Maverick, and against my division it becomes a bit tough to win. So I have decided to push from the start of the game. In this area, I am deploying fast transports, and I'm also putting the SU-152 to help me secure this place. But he also has here some pretty fast transports which carried support guns. And here also I did a quick push in order to get this area. All what I am trying to do is delay the Maverick, because I know how the Maverick work. So I wanted to give him less chance to win. Here he has troops which are vitted, triple vits. That's nice for him. This area also I deployed lots of infantry, but I'm not trying to advance. And I was able to secure this front from the first bush. Which looks like a very good chance for me to win the game very early. But let's see if my opponent can actually do something about it. He has one back here, hidden. Yep, and he is able to destroy one of the tank destroyers, the Su-76. That's when the Su-152 comes. It is really beast against defensive units and infantry. Here he has better units than I do. He has the Pioneers and the Jaegers. Very strong units. That's why I'm relying on air support, and as I said, I like the air units in this division. Still have a good control over this front. Here also I'm not pushing, and he is not pushing as well. Let's see if he can do something. And got one of the anti-tanks and trying to cut the way and encircle his troops in this area. Now I'm trying to throw everything I can in this front so I can finish the game as early as I can. Seeing the 19th Tank Corps actually pushing the 4th Fallschirmjäger is really nice. That's why I was saying that this division is one of the best divisions in the Soviets so far, from the divisions that I have reviewed. And the reason for that lies with the options that you get. And here completely I am able to surround him. He was able to destroy one of the infantry carriers of my units, but anyway, I am completely able to overwhelm him in this area. And now he deploys a Panther. And he started also deploying anti-air. Now he started to making his push in this place. I'm relying on the air force support because also my infantry are limited, as I said before. They are not that good. But most of the fight is in this front, trying to secure whatever I can and push forward. I have 15 flag and he only has 9, so advantage is mine, considering the fact that we are still in phase A. And as I said before, balanced can perfectly be fine against Maverick in phase A. It has no problem, but the struggle actually starts in phase B because of the unusual income for Maverick, which I feel it's a bit OB and unbalanced in many ways. Here he's doing everything he can to push me in this side, and now he was able to reduce the number of the flags that I have control over. So now I have 14 and he has only 10. I have deployed some mortars here, trying to attack this flag because it's going to cause me a problem. Since my division is a tank division, that's why I choose that side, and most of the people who has tank division choose this side to attack because it's more of an open ground, which will be much easier for tank fight. So let's see if we are going to see an interesting tank fight in this game. We still have full control over this area. His flag is still alive. Here, this Panther now is stopping the road. It was a good choice from him. That's why I deployed an ice too, trying to counter it. I was trying to get this flag, but he has a back 40 here and a light vehicle, which made this more difficult for me. He's trying, he's now starting to regain the initiative. I'm still holding here though. And this is a perfect attack from my Yak 1B, destroying his fighter bomber. He's now deploying troops here, and he has his Panther controlling the way, or basically overlooking that road to block anything from coming. But as I said, we have the ice too coming. He's trying to push fast this SBW in a gamble actually to destroy my two mortars here. But I respond right away with two Yak 1Bs because these mortars are essential for me. And I am able to destroy his PW. In this front, I'm still holding, and I am also bringing one of the OT-34s that can do great support for the infantry in this front. This front is, however, more secure and no attacks on the north. He has now two flags, and he brings the big guns. He brings the elephant Man, this tank is a beast. It has 190 millimeter frontal armor, and it has 230 millimeter penetration. So he knows that this is an open area and I will have lots of tanks, so this is a good choice to deploy the elephant. I always struggle against the elephant actually. So let's see if he can make a change. I still have 15 flag and he has only 9, and we are already in phase B, so that's his biggest advantage. And he's still trying his best on this area to get this front. I think he was able to destroy the T-34. Too bad. And we can see here an interesting fight with the elephant and the panther against the IS-2. Of course, the IS-2 will not win this. The elephant is not even scratch. And yeah, he gets my IS-2. Very shame. This elephant is going to cause me lots of trouble now. And I'm trying to hammer it with the Air Force, but it's gonna be a tough job because of this flak as well, and he has now fighters. Yeah, that is a bad choice. Now I'm trying to retreat, but I don't think I will be able to do it on time. Yeah, he also get the Su-152. He's now trying to turn the tide. He also has some pioneers in this area. So he's going to push here soon. He tried to get this, but I was able to secure, and I finally got his flag here. And he's doing a good push in this area, supported by the elephant and the panther, so he might get this south flank soon. And here I am still holding. So I still have 16 flag and he has only 8. But for how long? I mean, I need only to hold for 5 minutes more. So it's actually needless to say that I have tried also a lot with this division until I got the proper setting for the deck, basically, because the infantry, as I said, can be a little bit tricky because of the limited size. So I have tried different combinations. I have had some winnings and some defeats, but this is one of the most interesting games that I had with the 19th Tank Corps. So I'm trying to destroy his flag here as well. So one of the first things that I'm trying to do is basically take the anti-air, because they will be bane for my Air Force. And I need to give some way for my Air Force. And finally he now able to balance the flags and take control of this area after a large struggle. He has here 37mm anti-air unit. Now he has... Wow. The elephant and the panthers are really doing good job, in this area. I have no idea how will I take down this elephant, since it's pointed on an open road. So I deployed 2 Zen Arts. I don't think they will make any difference though. He has one Stug M42 here. It's okay tank. Has penetration of 85mm and frontal armor of 50mm, so it's a good support gun for the infantry. Here he takes down one of my bombers. He's able to turn the tide now. He has large concentrated numbers of troops in this area, supported by the elephant and the panther. And he took one of my flags here. And now he has even more flags. He has 13 flags and I have only 11. So that's basically what Maverick can do. It can turn the tide upside down in phase B. The ISU here is supporting this. Now fighting is in all fronts now. On the south, I'm trying to do something about the elephant. There is an IS-2 and there is the Zen Art 85mm, but all are waste. So in this area he's trying to get the center, but I'm still holding. He has one panther here as well. And in here I'm trying to secure again this front. I don't have proper infantry as he has, so he has a better chance of having this area. I withdraw my SU-152 because I know that it will get defeated against the panther. I am trying to get this flag. He has another flag here. His main units are in this area now and pushing me all the way back. So he has a nice comeback actually. That recon unit has a Panzerfaust in it. He has 2 anti-airs as well in this area. So interesting fight. Again is the Panther and 2 anti-tanks here as well. Let's see if I will be able to do any change. Nothing. We lost the second anti-air as well. He's really doing a good job using that elephant, pushing me all the way back. He starts deploying lots of tanks now in this open area. So let's see how I'm going to counter this. And here I'm still struggling to get a control over the north. The good thing actually that he's not pushing on this, because if he did a little push on this, I think he might have won the game. But he did a really good job in balancing the flags again, and now he has the initiative. But the problem that he is now in phase C, so he doesn't have too many points to get more troops. But that shouldn't be a problem for him, because he already has so many troops on the ground, and including tanks as well. So all what I need to do is try to hold and take as much of these troops as I can. I'm still relying on the Air Force. And here is another interesting fight between the Panther A and the IS-2. Let's see who will win. And he has two Panthers actually fighting this IS-2. I think he's gonna get it. And also the Stuk joins the fight. This is really bad for the IS-2, and of course I lost the IS-2. He's doing a good job in the tank fight. And I'm still struggling in the center, but here is another interesting fight in the air, and I was able to get one of his fighters with the Yak-3. Now let's see if we can get this other fighter. And he was able to escape. He's pushing lots of troops in this area. He has really some heavy tanks on the ground. And destroying his Panther with a Razvedka unit. He really did a mistake here by putting the Panther inside the city. Tanks sit ducks in this area and are vulnerable to anti-tank weapons. Here also I'm struggling to retake that flag, or at least to hold against his overwhelming force in this side. So far we have the same number of flags. Fighting is on all fronts, so I'm trying also to regain control of this side. These two 37mm trucks are really causing me lots of trouble, denying my Air Force from doing proper support to the units here. He's trying to advance his Lieg as well. He's finally able to regain control of this. He now has 16 flag and I only has 8. In which it looks like a complete loss for me now. I'm not sure if I will be able to recover from this or not. He gets a surprise here. I think he did not realize that I have two threes in this area, so his tank is lost. He has one elephant, one Panther, and one Storm Panzer also, which is a really good support tank against the infantry. And now the Katyusha comes in place, and of course I'm targeting the elephant, trying to do as much as I can to destroy this elephant. Has drive me all the way back. He also lost his Storm Panzer to these two anti-tanks, they really did a good job here. Here, air battles are going on, and battles also on the ground are going on. So this is going back and forth, trying to control and regain the lands here. And finally, I am able to take one of his 37 millimeters, which also destroyed one of my fighters. He now attacking my 76 millimeter guns, and I am deploying 2 Katyushas here, and of course I'm gonna use them against the elephant. Trying to do as much damage as I can to this heavy beast. So far he has 14 flag and I have 10. I still have some time to counter because of the fact that I actually drove him all the way at the beginning. But he did a really nice comeback, and I like what he did to counter my units. Now he has total control over the south flank. He has also total control over the center. But here, by some miracle, I am able to push his troops and regain control on this area. This PTRS is really doing a good job destroying his advancing unit. He's trying to destroy my SU-152. Which is running away. I'm deploying another IS-2 here. I think it's the last one I have. I didn't get much IS-2s in this. It was only like 4 of them. And I have already lost a lot due to the elephant and these panthers. He's trying to escape the IS-2. I am attacking his elephant using my air force and the Katyusha. I'm throwing everything I have on them. He now has 15 flag and I only has 9. Here is another fight against Panther and the Zis. But the Panther is not affected by the anti-tank. The Panther is really a good tank in this game. It's even better than the Tiger. Despite the fact that historical record actually shows that the Tiger has better kills in most of the battles and better performance basically. But here they are only considering what is theoretical on the paper. So the Panther is theoretically better on the paper, but actually on the actual record the Tiger did a much better job. So he has a 14 flag and I have 10, and I'm trying to push a little bit on the center here. I have the open ground, so I'm trying to do as much as I can. I'm deploying a KV-85 and I also have an ice too, trying to destroy these panthers. One interesting fact about the panther, lots of people actually think that the panther is a very good maneuverable tank, while it's proved historically that the panther has the worst reverse speed. So yeah, it might be fast in as a tank in moving forward, but it had the worst reverse speed, and maybe not lots of people doesn't know about this, but it really has a crippled reverse speed, which of course is not presented in the game, or in most of the games actually that I have played. No, most of the companies ignore that fact. And he got the ISU, the IS too. And here, finally, I am able to destroy one of the panthers using the T-34-85. And I am able to completely also take down his anti-air on this area. He has 15 flag and I has 9. Things are going into a good direction for him. I did really lots of mistakes in this game and I lost lots of heavy tanks. Let's see if I can fix this. I'm still hammering his elephant though with my Katyushas. And again I'm destroying his heavy fighter. I'm trying to gain control over the sky, which will help me counter all this tank, heavy tank spam. He's still well ahead of me. He has some Storm Panzer here, so I'm trying to destroy it. And I advanced some T-34 here. I'm trying just to balance the flags again. Now IS-2s and KV-85 are advancing. Sorry, SU-85s and KV-85. SU-85 is an anti-tank gun. So the KV seems to be vulnerable to these two panthers, and he also has one anti-tank here. And SU-85 is able to get the panther, destroy it. Here I was able to destroy his Storm Panzer. So I'm regaining control over this area and I have now more flags. Seems like very interesting fight. Going back and forth many times. His panther here is attacking my SU-85, so I should withdraw them actually. I did a mistake here by moving this this SU forward. Actually, it should not be this, like this. But it seems to me that now I have control over the sky. He didn't have so many anti-air, or he lost most of his anti-air. He deploys one back 40 here. But now I am back gaining the initiative. He still has his elephant and his flag defending that elephant. And he has one panther here left. I am deploying more Su-85s. I have full card of this 6 pieces, I think. In this area I have full control. So it seems that I am able somehow to regain the initiative now. But needless to say that I did really bad choices in this game. Lost lots of valuable tanks. But somehow I am able to regain control and threaten his crushing victory in phase B, which he did thanks to the Vanguard income. Now I'm also deploying artillery, and you can of course guess where I'm gonna use it. Of course the elephant here is killing anything that comes near. Damn, this beast is very powerful, and I'm really finding a difficult job of destroying it. I can understand why they only put one, I think, in this division. He's deploying large number of infantry. It's really great that I still have a large number of infantry to counter his advancing infantry, considering the fact that this division has a very limited number of infantry and soldiers. So I was able to use them somehow wisely. And the reason, and finally, oh no, I thought that I got the elephant, but he is still able to survive. So I was saying that the reason I was able to preserve a large number of infantry is related to the fact that most of the advance was on open ground using the tanks. So I also lost significant number of heavy tanks. And here he loses one other for Fokker Wolf. He's maneuvering with his Panther A. This is the last Panther he has now. I'm focusing all my artillery over this area, trying to destroy his elephant. And I have control over the sky on the north. But I have lost these 2 flags again. And he has now 15 flag and I have only 9. This is going back and forth. This is really interesting and tense fight. And the moment I will be able to destroy this elephant, I will have the chance to advance. This time I'm concentrating my artillery actually on the Flak 88. I want to take out his defense around the elephant. Su-76, and it was able to get his last Panther. That is really good. Finally, this area will be clear for me to advance. And here we go, the Katyusha again. Again focusing this time on his Flak 88. That was a nice attack. And now deploying bombers and fighter bombers. And guess what? I'm targeting, of course, the elephant. Let's see if they can make a difference. 2 fighter bombers and 1 heavy bomber. And finally, the elephant goes down. After so many hits from the artillery and from the Air Force, I think now we can say that the road is clear for me to advance. Also in this area. In this area I am also having an overwhelming control or an overwhelming victory. I think now he is out of tanks. And out of anti-air as well. I can't stop myself from thinking that maybe if he was playing balanced, he would have a better chance in winning the game. But yeah, and he decided to leave, of course, because he lost all of his tanks and all of his anti-air. So I had total control over the air and on the ground now. But he really put a good fight, especially that elephant. Kills are almost near to each other. Let's see my kills. The BTRS did magnificent job destroying lots of his valuable infantry, the FS Jaeger. Of course, the Yak-1B earns the kill of the elephant. Who would think that a light fighter bomber will be able to destroy his elephant at the end? But of course, this elephant was penetrated so many times by the artillery, the Katyusha, and other fighters and bombers attack. Yak-1B. So the Air Force did really a good job in this game. Another Yak-1B destroys lots of his troops. We can safely say that I was able to have a good control over the sky, while he had good control over the ground for some time using the elephant and other heavy tanks like the Panther. This did good job destroying his NAG 4500 37mm. This T-34 got 2 face tanks, 1 Panther, 1 Storm Panzer. The tank fight in this game was really interesting. He was also able to destroy some of my heavy tanks, which we will see now. Su-85s destroyed also 2 Panthers. And the Zen Art 85mm. The Su-76 was able to get another Panther. Yeah, so basically that was it from my side. Let's see his kills. So his support gun destroyed some of my units at the beginning. The Jaeger here also got some of the units. This Panzerführer, the command Panther, really did a good job destroying mix of anti-tanks, support tanks, and Zen Art anti-air as well. Pioneers, Fallschirmjäger Pioneers, destroying lots of infantry. Here is an interesting kill from his Stog M42 to the T-34-85. So that was a good kill. And of course the Elephant destroying one Ice 2, two Ice 2s and one Zen Art. Not bad at all. The Flak 4188mm got one of my fighters. This the Panthers really did a good job here in this game. I mean, in an open fight, they were able to destroy all of the IS-2s that I had. 2 IS-2s, 1 KV-8, and even 1 mortar. But then I was able to counter them using the tank destroyers mostly. See, this Panther was really fantastic. Had really fantastic kills. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 tanks. Wow. This is really great. I mean, at the end, the quantity was able to win the game, and I was able to destroy it. But I also did huge mistakes in the game as well, especially in the tank fight. Another Panther A destroys some tanks here. So yeah, that was basically it. This was really a good game and an interesting one also, but it shows how that Maverick can really turn the tide. He was so close of winning the game, even though I did a really hard push on him at the start. So anyway, thanks everybody for watching, and see you in future games and future reviews.